Okay, so this is the video to explain you how to develop the FYP report. This is going to be a very detailed video, and in this video, we're going to look into uh, each and every detail and the template made in order to develop your FYP report. If you follow this video thoroughly, you'll be able to understand each and everything regarding how to make this template and uh, generate a good FYP report that is publishable and could be presented anywhere. Okay, so let me just open the folder here. So we have this folder FYP template. So let me open the file here. So that's the FYP template file. Okay, so as you can see here, this is going to be the title page. At the top, we'll have the title of your project, then that's the Zabis University official logo, then your project thesis number, whatever the number allotted to you, then the semester in which you are going to defend this thesis. This is not a semester when you actually started the thesis, this is the semester when you're about to defend the thesis. Then your project supervisor name submitted by the names of the students. Then we have this Mechatronics Exchange Department, Service University, Karachi campus. That's going to be the title page. Then you will have one page on of certification, where you have the signatures of your project supervisor, FIP coordinator, program manager, head of the department. Then you have SDG coverage page. You'll have complex engineering problem, complex engineering activities, attributes coverage page. Then you'll have an abstract, then undertaking, then acknowledgement. Then you have table of contents. Okay, table of contents, list of figures, list of tables, list of acronyms. Then you have starting from chapter number 1, then 2, 3. We'll have 9 chapters actually for the mechatronics engineering department. We'll have 9 chapters in totality. We're going to go one by one through each chapter, and then we'll have the bibliography, and then we have the appendices. In the appendices, we'll have, like, for example, whatever the number of appendices you have, appendix A here, then we have appendix B, and that's the end of your thesis. So this will be the entire thesis report, all the formats and uh, the standards have been met in order to prepare this thesis report. Okay, now where is this template, how you're going to work over the template? I'm going to explain you each and everything in just a moment. So let me just close this file. Okay, so here you what you'll be provided is a zip file, like FYP template BEME, Bachelor of Engineering Mechatronics Engineering Zabist.zip. You'll have the zip file. When you open the zip file, when you download the zip file and open the zip file, you'll have a folder. That's the folder of FYP template. Okay, it's a very well managed folder. Okay, and we're gonna go in a moment and see step by step how to work on it. Okay, so let's say that I provided you the link to this zip file. You have already downloaded the zip file, and then you have unzipped it, and now you have this folder with you. Okay, so the first thing that you need to do is you need to go uh, on this website. Okay, so this is overleaf.com/project. Okay, this is the online this is the online platform where you can actually work over your latex files and produce your own projects. Okay, so what you're going to do is that you're going to uh, open a new project. Okay, first of all, you're going to obviously sign in. So you can sign in from your Gmail account, from whatever signing in. You can sign in from your Microsoft account, your Gmail account, or you can make your own account here. That's free. There's no charges of it. Okay, so now once you have already signed in, now what you're going to do is you're going to open a new project. Okay, so that's it, and make it a blank project. Okay, and let's say give it the name student FYP thesis. Okay, so you can name it whatever you can name it based on your thesis as well. Whatever, I'm just giving a random name here. Okay, and it's going to create a blank project for you. Okay, now once you have this blank project in front of you, first of all there is one file here by the name main.text. Okay, so what you need to do is first delete this file. You don't need it. Okay, you delete the file. Okay, so now you have nothing on it. Okay, now you go on to the upload. Okay, and then select a folder. Okay, then select the folder in which you have your so uh, your BEME FYP template. Okay, so I have this folder with me, FYP template BME Zabis. That was initially as a zip file, which I unzipped it, and now it's in front of me as a folder. So now I'm going to upload the entire folder here. Okay, it says upload 39 files to this side. I said okay, done, upload. Okay, so it's going to start uploading it. It's not going to take really more time. It's going to take it. It's going to be quite quick in uploading all the material. So 44% complete, 50% complete. And that's total 100% complete. So you see here now the folder which was provided to you has now been uploaded in your project. Okay, FYP template BME Zebis. Okay, so you can just open it. Okay, now what you do is that go on to the main. If you go onto the main.text, that's your main file. That's your main file. Everything is in here. Okay, so then recompile. Okay, once you recompile, the FYP project template is going to be okay. Your output file is going to show here. Okay, so now here if you'll notice one thing, everything will be fine, but there will be one problem. The problem will be in the appendix. Okay, bibliography, after that appendix A capstone guidelines. Okay, and you see here it's not there. Appendix A is not there. Okay, and then similarly appendix B, and it is also not there. Okay, so the reason is that it should be in the main folder. Now I have placed it in a separate folder, appendices PDFs. Okay, so initially you need to, whatever the appendix you have, okay, initially you need to put the appendix in your main folder. Okay, and recompile. Now the appendix is showing up. Okay, so whatever the pages of the appendix, they are going to be showing up. Okay, and now since they are showing up, I can select both of them and put them back in the folder where I want them to be, just to keep things clean. So now my complete file is here. Okay, okay, now I have to start working one by one on each chapter of the file. Okay, I'm going to start from the main. Okay, in the main, all the standards have been placed. Okay, you don't have to mess up with anything except here. You see here, definition title of the project. So I've written here the title of the project as designing mechatronics final year design project, but obviously you have your own title of the project approved. So you have to write the title of your project here, and once you're going to write the title of the project, okay, so automatically wherever it is needed in the project, it's going to be replaced like that. Okay, so this is the first thing that you have to do. Write down the title of your project here in the main file. Okay, now once you're done with this, then in the main file you do not have to touch anything. Everything is coded here. Okay, and that's very well coded here. You don't have to touch anything. So in the main file there is only one thing that you have to do. Just put the name of your project, title of your project here. Okay, that's it. Nothing else that you have to do in the main file. Now there are subsequent other files in which you have to work. Okay, so if we start from here, so the first thing is the title page. Okay, so you see here, eh, here you have a page, title page. You're going to go into the title page file. Okay, again, in the title page file, you have to just make the relevant changes. For example, come here, project thesis BEME 2604. Okay, whatever your project thesis number is, you have to put that number. It will be BEME 26 is just the year, so it will be 2024, 2025, 2026, whatever the year, and this will be the project number. So you have to put your uh, project thesis number. Okay, then this you have to write the semester in which you are actually going to defend the thesis. Okay, then after that, you have to change your supervisor name. Whatever your supervisor name is, write your supervisor name. Okay. Then after that, you have to write the name of the members. Okay. Now, sometimes we will have two members in the FYP thesis group. Sometimes you'll have three members. Okay. So suppose if we have three members, then this is the template. Okay. Ahmed Hassan Khan, whatever the name of the student and their ID. So one student, second student, and the third student. Suppose if there are only two students, then what you need to do is you need to comment these two lines. Comment is by putting a person sign in front of these two lines and uncomment this line. Okay. So if you do like this, you see here, if I recompile the thesis, so now formatting looks fine, but instead of having three students, now you have two students. Okay, so that depends. If you have two students, then it should be like this. If it is three students, then you again, let's say, comment this line and uncomment these two lines. Okay, and then recompile. So that's your title page. Now moving forward, next is the certification. Okay, you go over to the certification dot text. Okay, again in the certification dot text, the only thing that you need to do is to write the name of the group members. So this is to certify that this student ID, this student ID, and this student ID have successfully completed the final year design project entitled. Okay, also you have to change the title of the project here. Okay, designing mechatronics final year design project, whatever your title of the project is, at Zabis University to fulfill the partial requirement of the degree Bachelor's of Engineering in Mechatronics Engineering. Okay, so this is going to be a very important page, certification page. Okay, where uh, this will be certified that you have actually completed all the requirements of the thesis. So it will be signed by your project supervisor, signed by FYP coordinator, program manager, and the head of department. So that is going to be the most important page. Okay, so in this page, the only thing that you have to do is change write the name of the students and write the name of your title. Okay, of your project title. That's it, and rest of the things should remain the same, no change. Okay, and that's it. This is the template for the certification. Okay, next page is SDG coverage. In SDG coverage, you do not have to do anything at all. Okay, title will be automatically replaced once you have already placed the title in the main file. It will come here automatically, so you don't have to do anything in this SDG coverage file. Okay, uh, but obviously once you have printed it, then you have to, after printing, you have to tick the SDGs that you are actually covering in this project. Okay, then we move forward. This is the CEP CEA coverage. Okay, whatever the complex engineering problem attributes and complex engineering activities that are going to be covered in your thesis, you have to tick on that. Okay, obviously not on the soft file, but once you have printed it, only on the hard file that you have to do. So we have sdgs.text and we have CEP underscore CEA dot text, but you do not have to do anything on that. Okay, so just leave them as it is. Next is the abstract. Now abstract is very important. You come over to the abstract. Okay, again, the starting portion is something where we have coded that how it should look like, so you don't have to change anything on this. Okay, you have to start changing the abstract from this point onward. Okay, whenever you have to move towards to the next paragraph, you can just code it here like double backslash. Okay, so every double backslash put you on the next paragraph. And what are the things that should be covered in your abstract? Okay, or what this study is about. It should be 1 to 2 lines. What is its importance, when it is important, current practice and problem in current practice, aim of the dissertation and its constraints, advantages of the study, objectives of the study, methodology, major outcomes, future and work possibility, and recommendations. Okay, so these are the things that you should write in your thesis. And look here, this is also a sample here, that suppose if you have to generate a list in your thesis, anywhere in your thesis, the coding for it is like this. You have to write here begin enumerate and end enumerate, and then you have to put item item item. On each item you have to write down whatever the things you want to write. Okay, so this is the actual way of how to generate a list on latex. Okay, so this is a sample in front of you. Okay, so you complete your thesis abstract. Okay, abstract should be like 1 paragraph, 1 page, or 2 paragraphs, but it should not exceed 1 page. Within 1 page it should complete everything. Okay, and then you'll have keywords. Okay, keywords here, you can just change the keywords, whatever the keywords you think are relevant to your thesis. So that's the abstract file. So you're going to work here over the abstract file, and it's going to change over the main as the way you change. Okay, then the next thing is undertaking. Okay, undertaking is also very important. Again, in the text of the undertaking, you don't have to do anything. Okay, even the whatever the title of the project you have placed, that's going to be automatically put on it, so you don't have to do anything in it. Okay, so just once you have printed the undertaking, then you have to uh, sign it and put your name and ID, but that has to be done through your pen. Okay, not on the soft copy. So once you have printed the hard copy, then you have to sign it. And that's undertaking is that whatever the work you have done is actually yours, and you have not copied it from anywhere. And in case if it is found, then university reserves the right to take whatever the necessary action deemed, whatever the action deemed necessary. Okay, so again here I have placed here for 3 places, for because suppose if there are 3 students, but in case if there are not 3 students, then if there are only 2 students, then this last portion, okay, you can comment all of that. Then automatically this third one will be removed, and you'll have only the first and the second one where the students sign. Okay, then move towards the next, which is acknowledgement. Okay, so you'll have the text file of acknowledgement. You can come here. Okay, again, the starting portion is something you don't have to change anything. You start from here and make whatever the acknowledgement you want. I've just written here a sample. That doesn't mean that you have to follow exactly the same. Okay, you can change the format, you can change whatever the write-up of this acknowledgement as you like. Okay, but it should look like official, right? Okay, so this is the acknowledgement. After you are already done with the acknowledgement, then we move towards the next thing is again table of contents. Now you don't have to do anything in the table of contents. It's going to be automatically generated. We have a file of table of contents here, table of contents .text. Okay, but again you don't have to do anything in it. Okay, it's going to be generated automatically. Then list of figures, don't have to do anything. Then list of tables, again don't have to do anything. Okay, now come over to the list of acronyms. Now this is where you have to do some work. So suppose whatever be the acronyms you have in your thesis, you have to place those acronyms. Okay, Now where change, what change you have to do is here. Uh, Here I have written acronyms like this. Let's say LIS, locked-in syndrome, QOL, quality of life. Okay, and whatever it is. So you put here your uh, acronyms, okay, and then explain them here uh, in detail. Okay, so this is how you have to change the list of acronyms, and it should be there regarding your thesis. Okay. Then after the list of acronyms, next thing comes is you move over to chapter number 1. Okay, we'll compile it again. Yes, you move over to chapter number 1. In chapter number 1, okay, let me now go to chapter number 1. So what are the things that you have in chapter number 1? In chapter number 1, you'll have introduction. Okay, uh, okay, in your whole thesis there will be meant at many places you have to put figures. Okay, so this is the template of how to place the figure. Okay, so these are some of the lines. Okay, that's going to tell you how to place the figure. Okay, uh, if you look here, your figures should be there in the folder of pictures, and it should be there chapter wise, and obviously each picture should have a name. Okay, so uh, once I come here, okay, and I can write P I, so it's automatically gonna come here that okay, pictures, what pictures I want to put. Okay, so PIC, and then in this, let's say I want it to be the picture in chapter number 1, and whatever the picture name is, I will select that, and it will be automatically selected. Okay, and then whatever the caption that I need to place of the picture, then I will place the caption. Okay, and the picture must be cited anywhere in your document. Okay, so I'll have to label the picture. Okay, the labeling is not going to show here on the text, but it is only so that whenever you have to recall or cite the picture in your document, you can do it. So let's say I put label here fig mac dia. Okay, and then end figure. So suppose if I'm referencing or citing this picture in the text, so like for example it's written here in the market as in figure 1.1. Okay, so I have written here in the market as in figure backslash ref. Okay, and then in the braces, inside the braces, I put the name of the picture. Okay, the name that I placed as a label of the picture. Okay, so it's going to refer to that. So this is the template how you're going to place picture anywhere in your thesis. Okay, and then okay, whenever you have another section in your chapter, you have write here section and put the name of the section. Okay, if you have subsections, for example here in this section problem statement and solution statement, you have subsection. One section is problem statement, other subsection is solution statement. Then you have to write down subsection. Okay, so subsections and sections will they will be automatically numbered. Okay, you don't have to worry about the numbering. Okay, so you'll have introduction, then problem statement, solution statement, goals, aims, and objectives. Okay, so objectives should be 3 to 5 and should be tangible, measurable, and relevant to the outcome of the project. Then you have motivation and applications. So what was the motivation to go through this project, and what are the applications? Then you have the constraints and scope, that what are the constraints of your project. Okay, and what will be the scope of your project. Okay, then expected outcome. So that's going to actually cover your chapter number 1. So you have to, whatever the changes that you have to make, over here in the file of chapter number 1. That's your text file of chapter 1, and it's going to be represented here. Every time whenever you make a change, recompile to see if the recompiling has been done properly or not. Then let's say you're done with chapter number 1, you move to chapter number 2. Okay, so again in chapter number 2, what we have here is literature review. Okay, so So you can have multiple headings in it. Let's say I'm putting here mechatronics design in literature. Okay. Now, for the case of literature review, the most important thing, or in fact, the very first thing that you should do is that you should uh, you should place your references. Oh, okay. So there is a file here by the name references.bib. Now that's a very important file. Okay, so if I go here in the file, I have all the references that I need to place. Okay, now how do I get the information of these references? Now see it. Have a look at it thoroughly. Suppose if I go to Google Scholar, Google's Scholar. Okay, sorry. Let me go to Google Scholar. Okay, now I'm here at Google Scholar. Now, what I do is that let's say that I need there is a specific paper that I need to cite. Okay, paper on robots. Okay, so a review of the applicability of robots in education. So there is a paper. Let's say I need to cite it. Okay, you see here, there's a cite button here, SCITE. I click on the cite button, and then there is BibTeX. Okay, then I click on the BibTeX, and it's going to bring in front of me the information that I need to place in my references file. Okay, so I need to copy it from here and go to my references file, and then let's say enter, paste. Okay, and now this reference file, this paper information has been now placed here in this references file, and it's going to be named here as Mobeen 2013 review. Okay, so whenever, let's say if I have to cite, i I can cite it by using this reference. Okay, so if I go back to chapter number 2, okay, and suppose that I need to cite this can also be seen in this site and this site. So let me cite this one here as well, this site. Okay, click here. Okay, and now you see here all those references which I have placed are coming here. Mobeen 2013 review was the one which I just placed. And if I place it here, okay, so now this Mobeen reference is coming. Okay, so if I recompile, so you can see previously I had 1, 2, 3, and 4, and now I will have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, and that Mobeen one will be presented in my bibliography automatically. That's the third one. Okay, so this one is present. So I don't have to really worry about the referencing style and methodology and everything. Just I have to place the relevant information in my references file, references.bib, and then cite it wherever I have to cite it, and automatically it will be cited and it will be present in the bibliography. Okay, so this is actually how to do the referencing. Okay. Then, okay, uh, cross-referencing is sometimes also important. That suppose if you have uh, placed any equation, okay, or if you want to refer to any specific chapter, or any section of the chapter. Okay, so always remember that whenever you have to refer to any chapter, section of the chapter, or any equation or any figure or anything, you have to label it. Okay. Okay, so labeling is very important. This is what you're saying. Okay, so suppose I want to refer here to one of the equation I have placed in chapter number 3. Okay, so if I have actually labeled it there. Okay, so if I go to chapter number 3, and let's say there are equations in this chapter that I have labeled them. Okay, so suppose this is the equation, begin equation, and I have labeled it as equation 7. Then I have another equation, I have labeled it as equation 6, equation 5. Okay, so I can refer to any equation in my whole text if I have actually labeled it. Okay, so here I was just showing that see equation 3.4 in chapter 2.1. Okay, how did I write it? Okay, I write it because I have labeled equation 4, equation 3.4 as equation 4. Okay, and in chapter 2.1, so I was able to do this because chapter 2.1 is this. You see here, when I write here section mechatronics design in literature, I place label as C2 literature review. Okay, so in my code, when I write here C equation this in chapter reference C2 literature reviews, automatically is going to write here C equation 3.4 in chapter 2.1, and similarly C equation 3.6 in chapter 1.5.2. So if I go to chapter 1 and let's say section 1.5.2, 1.5.2 was the last section. Okay, so you see here, subsection scope, I have placed a label C1 scope. So when I'm writing here in chapter number 2 as C equation this in chapter reference C1 scope, so automatically it's going to write here C equation 3.4 in chapter 2.1, C equation 3.6 in chapter 1.5.2. Okay, it doesn't matter that whatever chapter I have referenced and what was the equation I have referenced. I'm just trying to tell you that you can refer and cite any equation and any chapter, but first thing is that you have to label it. Okay, and whatever the label you place, then that label you have to use to cite it at whatever the location you want to cite. Okay, so suppose I'm placing any picture. Okay, also I'm labeling the pictures, I'm putting the caption to the picture. Now here this is width written 0.8. Okay, so if I change the value of the width, I'm going to change the size of the picture. Okay, so suppose if I change here width as 0.5. Okay, so that you're going to see here that the picture is going to become small. See, the picture became small. So how big the picture should look like will be represented by the value of the width. Okay, so you can just place the value of the width, and it's going to define that what should be the size of the picture. Then you have to have at least mention what are the gaps in the literature, and then what is your overall literature outcome. That okay, so this will be chapter number 2, that will be literature review that you have to complete. Then moving forward, we move towards theoretical background in chapter number 3. Okay, chapter number 3 is the theoretical background. Okay, in this chapter, what you need to do is whatever the thesis, your thesis is about, उसका जो भी background है, whatever the background of it, you have to place that background knowledge in this chapter. So suppose uh, you are designing a chiller, let's say you're designing a robot. Okay, and there are some equations related to the motion of the robot. Now that equation is related to the theoretical background of that robot, and obviously you have to place the equation in your thesis, but it should come under the theoretical background. Okay, so all the equations, some standards, figures, things like that, whatever that you have to use eventually in your thesis for the designing purpose, that should come in the theoretical background. Okay, so most of the time, all of the equations that has to be placed, that has to be used in the thesis, must come in the theoretical background. Okay, so here in the theoretical background, I have actually mentioned that uh, how to write equations. Okay, so I have given some samples of the equations. Okay, so mathematical equation, let's say if you have a simple equation, then how do you represent the simple equation? Obviously you have to label the equations. Okay, and then let's say that you have an equation uh, with the text. Then suppose you have an equation with subscript, superscript. Then suppose you have Greek letters. How do you represent the Greek letters? Okay, how do you write the Greek letters? Okay, then suppose you have equation with Greek letters. Then how do you represent them? Okay, suppose you have equations with the fractions. How do you represent them? Suppose you have equation with the differentials, integrals. How do you represent them? Suppose you have arrays. How do you represent an array? um, so suppose you have conditional statements, and how do you put the conditional statement? Okay, so these are just the samples that I have placed in front of you so that you can know that how to place those equations. Okay, and obviously when you are going to write the theoretical background, it should refer to your specific thesis. Okay, and it should have only those equations which are relevant to your thesis, and the figures and the pictures that are relevant to your thesis. Okay, so that's chapter number 3. uh, moving onwards to chapter number 4, you will have materials and methods. Okay, in materials and methods, you'll have, first you have to mention about the materials. Okay, what are the materials used in your thesis? Okay, in your project. And then the methodology. In the methodology, you have to show the block diagram, flow chart, schematic diagram, whatever it is. You have to show your experimental setup. Okay, in the methodology, you have to show in the chronological order that how things are going to be done, and explain it in detail. You have to develop the Gantt chart uh, in this methodology section, and project breakdown and execution timeline, everything has to be mentioned here in the methodology section. Okay, so this is chapter. Okay, here in this methodology chapter, I have also shown here a sample how to draw a table. Okay, in the in your thesis, whenever you have to draw a table in the thesis, maybe there will be multiple tables in your thesis. How do you draw it? Okay, so you have to start uh, it is this is the code for making the table. So obviously, first thing you have to mention centering. You have to mention the caption. Okay, whatever is the caption for the table. Then obviously you have to label so that you can actually use this labeling to cite the table. Okay, then begin tabular. Okay, initially you have to mention here that how many number of columns you're going to have. Then this is the horizontal line. Then after that, what are the values in each column in the first line? Then what are the values in the each column in the next line? Then what are the values in the each column in the next line? Then what are the values in each column in the next line? So this way, automatically table will be generated in front of you. So you can generate whatever the table you want to generate by using this template anywhere in your thesis, and then you can refer it and cite it. So this is just a sample here. Okay, uh, chapter number 4. After chapter number 4, we move towards chapter number 5. In chapter number 5, you will have mechanical design. Okay, so mechanical design should mention about the mechanical structure of the project. Okay, and then you have to also show the CAD model. Okay, so your CAD model and the mechanical structure, whatever the details related to it, should be present in this chapter, mechanical design. Okay, Then we have the next chapter is instrumentation and controls. That will be chapter number 6. In this chapter, you will have electrical circuit design, you have instrumentations, whatever they're involved in your project. You have to mention that, and then you have to, if there is any software coding uh, needed for your project or related to your project, then that should also come in this chapter. Then we have chapter number 7, and chapter number 7 you have costing and commercialization. So you have to mention about your project cost breakdown. You have to give a detail of that, and then your life cycle cost analysis if relevant to your project, and then the plan of commercialization. So these are some of the things that should be there done in chapter number 7. Then you have chapter number 8, which is actually related to results and discussion. In this, initially you're going to discuss about the final project, the picture of your final product after you have actually completed everything over the product and your product is final. That should come here in the results and discussion. Initially, this is your final product, and then whatever simulation results you have to show those simulation results, and you have to discuss this, and then you have to analyze the performance of your product. So your performance evaluation of your product should be also be here. So that's the results and discussion. Your major conclusions, the major conclusion of the thesis should come out of this chapter. Okay. And then we have chapter number 9, which is summary and future work. In summary, you have to write down a summary about your project and whatever the future work you uh, that you recommend could be done out of this project. Okay, so that's chapter number 9. After that, bibliography will be automatically created, and then okay. Now coming over to the appendices. Now for the appendices, let me just tell you here what you have to do. If you see here, there is appendices.txt file. Okay, in this appendices.txt file, you have to add the appendices. So, okay, now appendices should always be present as PDF file. So suppose if I go here, uh, this is one appendix, capstone.pdf. Okay, so this is a PDF file, but I do not want to use the entire file. This entire file is a very big file. Okay, I just want to use some pages of this file. Okay, so what I'm going to do is that I'm going to go in the appendices. Okay, so I'm going to use this code. Now in this code, first of all, I'm going to write here what should be the name of this appendix. Let's say this is capstone guidelines. Okay, and then I have to write the name of the file. Capstone was the name of the file. You see here, if I go here, capstone.pdf, so that's the name of the file. Okay, and the number of relevant pages that I have to include from this file. So let's say I need pages 20, 21, 22, 3 pages. So I just write here 22, 22. Okay, and then you have, let's say, another appendix here. Okay, this is also a PDF file. Okay, and I need uh, only the first 2 pages of these to be included in my thesis. Okay, so I put here 1 to 2 and then the name of the file. So you keep the name of the file simple, that you place here in the appendices PDF. Okay, and initially you have to put it in the main folder, but once it has actually taken it and once it has recompiled it, then you can place it in the appendices PDF folder. Okay, and you can add as many appendices as you want, but keep that in mind that all those appendices should be initially as a PDF file, and then either you can include the entire PDF file or you can include a few pages of the PDF file, but you have to then follow this code, whatever the code written here. Okay, and you keep on adding the number of files you want to add. So with this, your thesis will be complete, and that will be the complete file of your thesis. Once you are satisfied with your thesis file, then what you can do is, here you have download PDF. Download a PDF of this thesis file and then print it. Keep that in mind that your thesis should be printed single side. So it should not be double side printing. Number one thing. Number second thing is that the GSM, the paper should be a good quality GSM 75 to 90 at least. Okay, and the third thing is that on the side of your thesis book, uh, what it should not be empty. The side of your thesis book should not be empty. Initially it should be printed what is the code of your project, like BEME 2402. Then in the center should be the project name, and at the end it should be the semester in which you uh, defended the thesis, like spring 2024. So this this is how the side of the thesis should look like. So side of the thesis should not be empty. Okay, so this is the complete information regarding how to generate the latex file for the thesis. uh, your FYP thesis report will be uh, professional and good looking if you actually follow these guidelines. Obviously, you have to work on it a little to understand how latex works, but it's not really that difficult and it's going to generate really professional FYP reports. If you have any questions or queries, please come back to me and you can ask me. And this is the end of this video. Thank you.